What's up, guys? We're coming to you live from Los Angeles in our glamorous hotel room. I just got back from the Project Luminous event, and now we're just going to kind of talk through it. I'm going to freeform stream of consciousness, explain everything that I just saw to Molly.
I've just been trying to read as much as possible on Twitter because you did a big thread. A bunch of everyone there was doing these huge Twitter threads, and I was just barely keeping up, but I think I got the gist of it.
Yeah. So I'm just going to start talking. You interrupt me whenever you feel like it, if you have any questions. But this is close to what the rumors that have been floating around were saying. I think initially people were guessing it was 400 to 500 years before the prequels, but the High Republic is 200 years before the prequels, which is surprising to me. Mm-hmm. At first I was kind of like, oh, I wish it were further back, but thinking about it, this is almost even more interesting because the Jedi, they're referring to them as like the Jedi Knights of the Round Table. So I think they're leaning very heavily into like Arthurian kind of mythical legend type things, which is very cool.
Yeah, I think I read someone tweet that like someone said that they wanted to leave enough room, like not get anywhere near Old Republic, because this High Republic era is completely new and they're able to just start with a completely blank slate.
Yeah, and that's what I find even so interesting, that it's only 200 years and it's like they look pretty different. Like the Jedi look different. And they talked about bringing in concept artists like Phil Noto and Ian McCaig, and they were trying to decide, what does the Republic look like at this time? What do the Jedi look like? And things are, I would say, fairly different. I mean, they're not just wearing the standard Jedi robes. This, I don't know, it almost looks older than KOTOR stuff to me. Like the galaxy has changed that much in only 200 years. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if we keep going, like, how much different is it gonna look?
It reminded me like the fancier kind of Jedi robes. I think you called them dress blues.
That's what they called them, yeah.
Oh, okay. It reminded me of like the way that the elves looked in Lord of the Rings. It's very like, I don't know.
I'm prettier than you.
Yeah.
And I want you to know it.
Well, it's very intricately detailed, and the robes are like gold and white, and it really like makes them look like actual knights.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And Ian McCaig was originally the designer of Darth Maul, mm-hmm. and like a ton of other major characters, Mother Talzin.
He's been around since episode 1 doing concept art, and they brought him on to do concept art for this, and that's something that they said that they were treating this very similar to a film release. And someone said that this is similar to Shadows of the Empire, but like times 1,000, where Shadows of the Empire was like the same story being told through various media, a comic book, a book, a video game, and even a soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And you kind of had to read or play all 4 to get the whole story. This is going to be not like that in that they're all the same story, but from a slightly different point of view. No, it's like one ongoing story. Mm-hmm. And to get the whole thing, you need to read all of them.
I liked how they started this event and how they said that, like, what kept Star Wars fans going in between the breaks of the movies, books, and comics. And, like, they're really, really hammering that idea with this stuff. And this stuff started in 2014?
The idea of just having the books and comics be a major driving force, just like they always have been, but now that it's like, okay, well, we've got movies now and we're doing TV shows, what can the books and the publishing world do to set itself apart, mm-hmm. and make it feel more necessary? Which, walking out of this, I was like, this is what I have been saying I wanted for a while now. The books and the comics of the new canon have felt very much like they're just in support of the movies. And that's not to say that they haven't been good, because there have been some really great stories come out. But I missed the old days of Legends where it's like the books were the backbone. And I get that everything has to change because now the movies are back and the books aren't going to be the backbone of the universe anymore. But it's so nice to see that, okay, at least they're going to get to do their own thing.
Yeah, and I think they showed in the reel that they all got together like at the Skywalker Ranch in 2018 to actually start brainstorming all of this. So this has been in development for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And the first time they talked, it was like just about what does Star Wars mean to all of them. And then they started to get into, okay, we want to do the Jedi at like the height of their power. And this also, I think in that trailer, Pablo Hidalgo said, like, we gave them a blank slate to do whatever they wanted. So this is what they decided to do. And they started talking about, all right, we want to do the Jedi at this point in time. And then they were like, what scares the Jedi? And that was when they come up with the villains, which are called the Nile.
Well, let's back up a second.
Okay.
So I liked that they said that they were inspired by the quote from A New Hope, 1,000 Generations, the Obi-Wan quote. Who are the main authors working on this project?
Claudia Gray, Daniel Jose Older, Charles Soule, Cavan Scott, and Justina Ireland.
Okay.
So we got 5 authors, and they're doing 5 stories. That's to kick everything off. And they really switched it up on me. I'd been guessing for a while, like, okay, obviously Charles Soule's going to do the Marvel comic. Cavan Scott will do the IDW comic. Claudia Gray will do a YA novel. Justina Ireland will do a middle grade novel, and Daniel Jose Older will do a novel. And I was right about Claudia Gray and Justina Ireland, and that's it. Like, everyone else mixed it up.
We were just talking earlier how cool it would be to get a novel from Charles Soule.
Yeah.
Because his stuff is so good.
Yeah. I mean, I got to tell him tonight how much I love his comics. I had met Claudia and Daniel before. I didn't get to meet Justina tonight, but I got to meet Cavan Scott tonight. But like, to get to finally tell a lot of these people, like, your stuff's great. And I was talking to them about how it's you mixed it up on me, and I wasn't right about anything you're doing. And Cavan Scott was saying that, yeah, we wanted to mix it up for ourselves, but they also were a very collaborative group. And if they ran into trouble, any writer's block, they would call each other and like just say, do you have any advice? So they all worked in this era together. It's almost like all of these stories are a group effort.
What a good idea. I wish they did that with the movies.
So going back to the Nile, they are the villains, and this is what I really loved about them, is that they're not an empire. It's not like the Sith Empire. It's nothing like the First Order. There's no stormtroopers. They were described as like punk rock space Vikings.
Yeah, they reminded me like if the Cloud Rider gang were actual bad guys from Solo. So like Enfys Nest and her people, if those guys were actual bad guys, this is what we're kind of looking at.
And there's definitely more to them than they let on. They were very vague about it. It sounds like this is going to be an era of exploration where the Republic probably isn't as big as it was in the prequels. I'm getting the sense that a lot of the Outer Rim hasn't been explored yet. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's going to be, and Star Wars has always had like Western inspirations, but there's going to be this Wild West feel where they're running into these bandits. But Charles Soule said that they have an interesting way of using hyperspace that makes them very dangerous. And that's all he'd say about it.
Lightspeed skipping?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean...
well, I read something about hyperspace lanes were still something that was being created.
Yeah.
So maybe lightspeed travel before hyperspace lanes were kind of fleshed out. Maybe that's the dangerous part.
Yeah. And they also said that the gas masks that they wear, like, that's very intentional. They were showing us that for a reason, but we don't know why. So I'm just excited that they are a new threat. Like, this is something else Charles Soule said, was that a driving force behind the High Republic was new. Like, what is something we've never seen in Star Wars that still feels like Star Wars? But yes, that's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and all the concept art looked so dope, and the Jedi.
That's my word.
Well, I'm stealing it. All the Jedi looked super cool, and there was such a good mix of like alien species, men, women, younger kids. There's a 16-year-old female Jedi, I think, is the main character of one of the projects. So just all that stuff looked super cool.
You reminded me that they kind of showed off this one lightsaber that has a crossguard. It's not like Kylo Ren's crossguard lightsaber where they're actual beams, but the hilt itself is like a T, and then the lightsaber comes out of it. And they kind of highlighted that. And
was that the one that the Wookiee had?
Yes.
Okay.
They kind of highlighted that and likened it to Excalibur in some way. So there might be something special about this lightsaber. I don't know. Like, everything is still very vague, and like they're just dropping little teases. But
there was also one that looked kind of like the Darksaber, but it looked more just like a black lightsaber.
I didn't see that one. I might have been tweeting at that point.
And in that same image of all the people holding all the different kinds of lightsabers, there's a Lothwolf.
Yeah, I missed that image. All right,
yeah.
So I got to go back and look at some stuff. Everyone was like frantically trying to keep up and write notes, and it was hard. And so I missed a lot of details about the books and comics themselves. I will probably go back later this week and do like a full, here's what we know about each story.
Yeah, because hopefully, I mean, now that we've gotten a taste of all of this stuff, maybe Del Rey will like give us a list of some concrete details.
Yeah, and they said at the end of the thing that like we're gonna hear a lot more between now and August 25th. They also said, and this is exciting news, that this is just phase 1. They actually used that phrase.
Everyone yelled at you for using it.
I know. So this is phase 1 of the High Republic. These first 5 stories. There is more to come. They have even more, I guess, publishers, licensees joining in. So I think we will be getting reference books to come along with all of this stuff. And
manga, or manga, however you want to say it. One of the, I think Viz does manga.
I didn't even know a lot of the companies that they popped up. But yeah, we've been getting like Lost Stars and the Leia Princess of Alderaan mangas. So yeah, that makes sense. There's going to be a lot more different kinds of stories. I wouldn't be surprised if we got more authors joining the mix. Also, we should bring up, I know that like there was a lot of hype coming into this, and I think some people, because there were rumors flying around about like High Republic movies and shows and video games, and I haven't looked at any reactions to any of this yet, but it's the internet, so I assume there are some negative reactions. But like from the start, they always said this is books and comics, and that's it. It's a publisher thing. So that's all I was expecting going into this, and that's all we heard about. And like I said, I was honestly thrilled that it's like, okay, the books and comics get to be important again.
Yeah, I think the term multimedia got tossed around a little bit in the beginning, and people ran with that, and even we thought maybe they would bring in a TV show or a video game into this, but I'm glad it's starting out with just the core books and comics.
Well, what I want to say is that just because they didn't announce anything right now doesn't mean that in the future there won't be more.
Right.
I have no idea if anything is planned, but if this goes well, like there's nothing to say that there can't be a High Republic movie down the line, and maybe there is a video game. I don't know, but
yeah. And wouldn't that be so much more satisfying if we really got the time period fleshed out with all these books and comics, and just really got to know all these different characters.
Yeah.
And then they announce a TV show, a movie, a game.
Yeah. I'm just all in already with the books and comics. Like, I'm happy with this. This is basically what I was expecting going in. I'm not one to get overhyped over rumors and stuff. But that I'm just saying, Lucasfilm never said it was anything more than that. But yeah.
Do you want to go into any detail about the 5 main projects that they're starting with?
Yeah. So let's just talk about first Charles Soule's Light of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that's going to kick everything off. And he basically said it's going to set the stage, and something called the Great Disaster is going to happen.
Right.
And we're going to get to see the Jedi of the time come together and work together to solve some crisis.
As the Jedi
do. Right. So I guess that'll be the introduction of the Nile.
Mm. And they mentioned that cool space station thing.
Yeah, Starlight Station.
But they, again, were kind of tight-lipped about that, too.
Yeah, that's another thing, like Charles Soule mentioned in his Star Wars comic.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I want to point out that the Lady Jedi on the cover of his book absolutely looks like the Jedi in the Holocron from the Rise of Kylo Ren comic that I threw out. I was like, I bet she's going to be in the High Republic. No confirmation on that yet, but...
they do look awfully similar.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm always right. I pulled up my phone so that I could look back through these. Yeah, Light of the Jedi is on August 25th, like 2 days before Celebration.
Before or after?
It's before.
Oh, okay.
Right before Celebration starts. So I bet they're going to have like an exclusive cover.
Oh, they're going to have a massive Project Luminous panel, if not more than one.
I'm sure they will.
At Celebration now, which is super exciting.
The next one was Justina Ireland's A Test of Courage. That's the middle grade book. She writes fun middle grade books. I read Lando's Luck and Spark of the Resistance. Mm-hmm. She said that this one was going to be a mix of middle grade and YA. It's still going to have some silly fun and games for the younger readers, but it would skew a little more mature, young adult, which is cool. And I think probably they need to like match some tone, I would guess.
Yeah.
The High Republic comic is going to be by Cavan Scott, and I don't remember anything he said about that one specifically.
Well, hopefully we'll get more details.
I did right. It'll center on Starlight Station. That's right. He said that it was going to feature a Jedi who finds themselves surrounded by like legendary Jedi and feels a little inadequate. But that'll be at this Starlight Station. Into the Dark is Claudia Gray's book. It says it's Disney publishing, so that usually means it is YA or middle reader, and Claudia Gray writes both adult and YA. So I'm going to assume this is a YA book, which she writes fantastically well. Mm-hmm.
She said that the main male Jedi was like if Matthew McConaughey was plopped into the Star Wars universe as a Jedi, which I thought that was interesting.
I can't remember if she said it was as a Jedi or someone else. Like she said she's going to have some non-Jedi characters in her book as well.
Right, because that one is supposed to center around, I guess, 2 main characters, and one is a non-Force user. Yeah,
I can't remember if Matthew McConaughey is the Jedi or not. And then the High Republic Adventures comic is going to be by Daniel Jose Older. So that one will be, I assume, part of the Star Wars Adventures line, which are for probably the youngest audience of all of these stories generally. But I would say that when they focus on a series, they get really good. Like Cavan Scott also wrote Tales from Vader's Castle, which is part of the Adventures line. But those comics are great. and really entertaining. So I think a lot of times when I'm reading the Adventures comics, I'm just like, they're fine. They're Star Wars, but they're for a much younger audience than I am. But Tales from Vader's Castle is a lot of fun, and I think that this one will hopefully be along those lines. I really liked Last Shot by Daniel Jose Older, so I'm interested to see his take on a comic.
Yeah.
But those are the stories. Again, if I can like go through and recover more details, because they were all talking so fast and naming characters and stuff, and I was like, I can't tweet this fast. So I'll see if I can
we'll forgive
get more
you
details.
this time.
Thank you. This is like my first event like this.
Tweet faster next time.
I can only go so fast, and I was like deleting typos, and I was just not on my A game when it comes to typing.
You're better than I am.
You just like
my thread would have been unreadable.
Jumble of letters. # Project Luminous tweet.
Oh yeah.
What does it mean?
Every hashtag would have had a typo in it, and I would have been like, ugh.
See, I was smart. I copied and pasted it.
Yes,
So
that is the way to do it.
That's a pro move. But yeah, that's it for now. I think we talked long enough. Like I said, I think this is great. I think it's an awesome direction for Star Wars to go in.
Mm-hmm.
Love that it's books and comics for now. Would love to see it expand in the future, but like, this is fine. Like,
yeah.
this is more. That sounds sarcastic. This is great. This is more than fine. This is exactly what I wanted the books and comics to do. And it starts this year, and I don't know how many are coming out. I think there's room for at least a couple to come out this year. Probably at least 3.
Yeah,
but
why not?
I would assume it's books and comics. Maybe it'll all come out this year, and Phase 2 will kick off next year. I don't know. I'm just speculating on random dates at this point.
Yeah. The idea that all this is new territory, but it's still surrounding the Jedi and the Force, which is obviously people are going to eat this stuff up because it's like the core ideas that were set up by George Lucas in A New Hope. And yeah, I can't wait.
And the fact that this has never been really touched upon before, even in Star Wars Legends. So this is going to be new for everyone. I can't wait. Yeah. Let us know what you think of the Project Luminous High Republic reveal. I guess we have to call it the High Republic now. We can stop calling it Project Luminous. Let us know what you think of it in the comments, and if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And consider checking out our Patreon page, which I should say, actually, thank you to all of our patrons. Like, we got to come to this because of you guys. Like, we had to cover the travel and everything, and we were like, we can handle this live from the event, and we can do that thanks to our patrons. And, that just thank you guys that you guys made this happen. So a special shout out to all of you.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.